well, not all broadband connections are created equal, right? We can agree with that, obviously. But the other piece of it is not all broadband, even in fiber, not everybody has access to the same things, right? So in some rural areas, maybe some people get sports, maybe some people don't, maybe some people get, live TV, maybe some people get over the top. Like there's different, it's not all created equal, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think from our standpoint, Nick, you make a great point. I think from our standpoint, we've been able to, broadcast high school sports all over the state of North Dakota. And I joke with people all the time. I broadcast from the gym with asbestos covered ceilings and 3 rows of bleachers, right? So you would never have thought that was possible, right? I mean, I broadcast this last summer. We broadcast a rodeo, and the rodeo was within, probably a quarter mile to half a mile of the nearest ONT. So we brought some wood fiber out, we spliced it, God knows where, in the back of someone's house, ran it through a culvert, and we terminated an outdoor ONT on the outside of a rodeo grounds, right? I mean, we've done cowboy mounted shooting where I took two dishes and went a mile and I hooked them to grain bins, literally strapping grain bins of wireless mimosa dishes point to point to be able to broadcast this stuff, right? So I mean, we utilize it maybe a little bit differently. I think in the rural part of North Dakota, when we talked about this previous, is there's, with North Dakota being so sparse in population, so big in geographical area, the average population in North Dakota is literally just over one person per square mile. Mm-hmm. And so when you think about the distance from home to home, and we're a rural-based community, and we're a rural provider, and yet we're providing fiber, miles and miles and miles of fiber. We may run 14 miles and connect up 4 houses, right? And so we have to find a way to monetize that pipe. And one of the ways that we're looking at it is, we offer standard traditional IPTV, which we, just same as everyone else, is trying to migrate away from because it's expensive, but you had to offer it because if you didn't offer TV and it wasn't part of the triple play package, you couldn't compete. And now we're looking at an over the top product. And on top of that, just the security pieces of our watch product, our protect product, our pieces like that. And something so simple as we sell a lot of cameras, right? So we're talking very rural, remote. You could yell and there wouldn't be a soul that would hear you for days, right? We always joke in North Dakota, you can watch your dog run away for 2 days because it's so flat, right? And one of the things that we see, especially this time of year, maybe the last month or two, is cameras in calving barns. So people need to be able to be in their home and monitor the calving that's happening in their calving barn. Think about the fiber brings that to them. Sensors in a water trough. Now, there's probably not a single other person on this call that's ever seen a cattle watering trough. It's a serviceable spot at a corner of 2 pastures coming together where water services it from a well. The problem is in North Dakota, it's 20 and 30 and 40 below. So those have to be electrified in order to keep the water from freezing. Well, we place a monitor within that and a short haul wireless solution to be able to monitor that water. So if the water freezes and the farmer doesn't get to that pasture, God knows how far from his farm, that those cattle don't die. Those are, I mean, that's a resource he has, right? So even fuel monitoring, we have driveway sensors that they may live in Wishick and they have to drive 50 miles to the nearest town to work. They want to know if someone drove up there on their property. They want to know that someone crossed their driveway. They want to know, what's happening. And these are people that, again, they could literally be miles away from the nearest person, and yet they can be 50 miles away from their home in rural nowhere and be able to monitor every step from the calf being born to the fuel tank to make sure no one's stealing fuel, to the water in a pasture, to standard security, to be able to go home and watch a sporting event of their kid who's halfway across the state. So I think in our portion of the world, it's just maybe a little bit different.
Well, I think you're bringing up a good point, though, that, I mean, for so long, it's always been about, that's the triple play, right? Has been a model. And I mean, you listed off like 6 examples of things that you can do with, the right broadband connection that have nothing to do with the triple play.